Welcome to Cohesive Friendship Unit. My name is Chris. I'm here with Jake.
Hey guys.
Jeremy.
What's up?
And Brian.
What's going on?
Guys, are your bodies ready? Because Reggie because Reggie just did an interview, not an interview, a lecture he's a teacher now. A professor, if you will. He did a lecture at Cornell University talking about Nintendo, and he described the Wii U as such. He admitted that the Wii U was a bust, but he called it a failure forward since it led directly to the creation of the Switch. And I just thought, we've had some, like all breakups do, we can think a little bit clearer after some time. We've had a little bit of time since the Wii U. We've had some time with our Switches. Thought maybe we could reflect on this. Was the Wii U a failure forwards, or was it just shit? And we're going to talk about that. But real quick, we are doing a giveaway at 1,500 subs. Crash Bandicoot Trilogy on Steam. Giving that away to a random sub. All you got to do is be subscribed. Also, I am doing commentary on Saturday for a Smash Bros. Ultimate tournament. There will be a link to that tournament in the description below if you want to hear my voice all day. I will probably lose my voice, but whatever. Okay, guys. So what do we think? Was the Wii U a failure forward?
No, it was just
Nope.
a failure.
Just a failure. All right.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say no.
So, but it's like they came out with a prototype of what they wanted to do, but like the Wii U was at the time, it just seemed like a warmed over Wii. It's a Wii that they put a tablet with, and then the Switch came out that was like, oh, it's a tablet. It could do some pretty neat shit, but fundamentally it's a tablet. Like, you're not innovating by going to a platform that already exists.
An HDMI cable isn't innovation?
Dude, but it's proprietary.
I think the idea of the Switch was there with the Wii U, but the technology wasn't there to make it happen. It's kind of like that's my. Was it though?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless,
But maybe not at the right price point.
maybe not at the right price point or something. Regardless, I think the other thing that Nintendo might have learned, and maybe not, like here we're gonna see in the next generation actually, is a marketing type thing, right? The Wii U's marketing was absolute trash, but Nintendo decided to call the Wii U, which was the word Wii with a fucking letter at the end of it. Of course that confuses people, especially because the box itself looks like a Wii. If Nintendo's next Switch is called the Switch U, if it's called that, that's a mistake. People, no wonder people won't understand what that is. People will not get it. Does that make sense? That's just stupid.
Switch me for what?
Or
what are you switching me for?
If they call it the Switch U, it's what the fuck are you
I think their perspective was that, how PlayStation became PlayStation 2 and Xbox became Xbox 360, which is almost as nonsensical as Wii U. Nintendo's perspective was we have the Wii, which is a really successful established console, so let's build upon that brand recognition. But by using U, in which no one knew what the fuck that meant, and a lack of clarity between how it was different than the previous console, as you just kind of said, Chris, bad marketing, I think it had the opposite effect of people just thinking it was a Wii add-on.
Exactly. So PlayStation to PlayStation 2, it's the
Very
second
clear.
PlayStation.
It's the squeakle.
It's the squeakle. Xbox 360 to Xbox One.
It's come around full cycle, and now you're buying it again.
I think everyone pretty much agrees that name is really bad.
It was stupid.
But at least it was marketed better. I think the Wii U is it was really poorly explained, and that I think people legitimately thought that the tablet was the Wii U.
It was poorly conceived. It's just a mess. It's bits and pieces of all different things. Why doesn't everybody get a tablet? If that's your thing, why don't you get 4 of them?
So let me ask you this. Sorry. Do you think there's a world where Nintendo went from the Wii to the Switch, and would it have succeeded in the same way?
No.
Why not?
I think price point, as Jake said, for the technology at the time would have been too expensive.
I think they could have, though. I mean, I don't think there's a world where Nintendo would have done that. I mean, there's a clear technology evolution between the original Wii and the Switch. But there is a thing called R&D that most companies do, where you research and develop something until it's ready. So there's definitely your average company would have probably done a ton of R&D to get from the Wii to the Switch, and that would have been fine. I think it would have succeeded probably just as well. But Nintendo just decided to release their prototype, as we've been saying, which they called the Wii U for some reason.
Yeah, there's no reason that... I mean, I guess there is, because if you look at all the cool shit they got in Japan that we didn't get, fucking the 64DD and all modems and all that crazy shit.
Famicom disc too.
Yeah, it's I guess there is kind of a market for launching kind of new ideas out to see what they get, but as your flagship console, the other problem that they have, and this is something that I've been really interested to see how they get it. I know they're reinventing the controller and whatever shit they said a couple of months ago, but that's gonna take a long time. If you think about, so if there was no Wii U and they just went straight from the Wii to the Switch, how long of a time frame would that be?
Well,
so from 2000, when did the Wii come out? 2006. 2006
the
to...
Wii U came out in 2012.
But when did the Switch come out?
2017.
That's right. So it's over a decade in terms of development time if you ignore the Wii U. I think that they've kind of backed themselves into a corner with this, because the Wii was when that came out, it was this is like nothing else that's ever been before. It tracks your motion and it actually kind of works. And when the Switch came out, it was kind of a similar thing. I think they've backed themselves into a corner of having to come out with a Switch U, because it's going to be... It takes a long time to develop, and okay, the Switch, I still think it's a glorified tablet, and now there's, kind of issues with the Joy-Cons that are coming out, and they're kind of admitting that they're really expensive to make by coming out with a cheapened version that you can't take them off. Fair enough, but when your normal is pushing the mold, you have to keep coming up with bigger and bigger and bigger things.
Yeah.
And that takes a while to do.
I think that's the thing, right? So people, the Wii was a cultural phenomenon. That is an exception to the rule as far as video games go.
Right, but
so I guess my point is the gimmick for that was not pro gamer, if you will. It was neat and nifty, but it was not beneficial to third-party development, beneficial to people who are used to normal controls, beneficial to dual analog controls. And the Wii U doubled down on that gimmick, where they had the Wii U tablet, but they kept the Wii controllers. The Wii controllers were the second controllers. There was no other Wii. There was the Pro controller, but it was the Wii controllers were the official controller of the Wii U, apart from the tablet. And that's them further doubling down on top of this tablet, and that just makes it rough.
So if you take the Switch with all of the stuff that they build into it, like the sensor package that they put in those controllers, it's almost them tripling down on this, because the cost to develop something that uses all of the features that the Switch is capable of is so astronomical that they're the only ones that can do it.
I understand that. I guess what I'm saying is the gimmick of the Switch is pro everyone, pro video game player, in that it literally
it can do the other thing.
It's literally just a console that you can play portably or dock it to a TV. The gimmick of the Wii U is not really conducive to anyone.
Yeah.
In fact, it acts as an active detriment in that is not how the human brain like works. You can't look at two screens simultaneously.
Yeah, and it was like they had cameras in that. It was way over what it should have been. But you can't just come out with nothing.
Yeah.
Which I think is
about all the things that have come out in the time between the Wii and the Switch.
And I think also to mention Chris's point about like how the human brain can't look at two screens simultaneously, I think that also goes to the point, it's not like the Wii U really like operated remotely similarly to the Switch. Like the Switch is you only ever use one screen at a time. It's just a matter of, are you portable or are you docked? The kind of conceit of the Wii U was that you would be using two screens at the same time simultaneously, like the touch tablet to support what you were seeing on the main screen, either through the use of like a stylus and touchpad or through seeing menu items or a map. So like they're really pretty different ideas. And in retrospect, Reggie being just like, oh, it was fucking Switch 0.0, like, not really.
Have you seen any human being try to play Pikmin 3 the best way possible? You have a Wii U tablet sitting on your lap. You have a a Wiimote and a nunchuck, and you're just like you have all of these devices to play one game. Have you ever seen someone try to play Star Fox Zero? It's hard. It doesn't make sense.
It's hard. It's stupid.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that gets to what Brian was saying, that it seems like there's clearly like they need to release consoles every X amount of years, and someone, probably Reggie, said you need to release a console in 2 years.
It's always Reggie.
Okay, I guess it's going to be the Wii U, and we couldn't develop new controllers, so we're just going to take our old controllers and, you know, just make our 3DSs bigger and call it a console, and we don't know what to do.
Which could be fine. Like, the PlayStation uses fundamentally the same controllers for the past 25 years. You just, like, they had some of the worst marketing of all time for that console. In stark contrast to the Switch, which I agree with Brian, is pretty much just a tablet. But, like, the marketing for the Switch was phenomenal. Really excellent.
But, like, I mean, no, I don't want to, like, rant on this, but both the PlayStation and the Xbox have figured out how to make actual usable controllers, where Nintendo seems to be entirely incapable of developing a controller that can be used.
Pro Controller's good.
Agreed.
They just opt to not make
Okay,
it.
they developed a
primary.
controller that you
controller is an
physically
Xbox
cannot
controller.
use, and now you have to buy a controller that actually works.
Or you could buy a piece of plastic and put two of your Joy-Cons on it.
Hell yeah.
It's
Well,
almost
no,
the
that
same
comes in the
thing.
box.
To be fair, it
Brian.
comes
That
with
in
it.
the box. I do want to talk about like the last kind of thing. I think, or at least the last thing for me, I think that the Wii U was also a bust, less so for the hardware and more so for the transitionary period for Nintendo, whereas Sony and Microsoft already went through the HD transition and were making HD games. Nintendo didn't start making HD games until 2012, and that transition hit them hard. I mean, there was part of the reason that first-party releases were so sparse was because the Wii just wasn't selling well enough, but another reason was because games were way more intensive than Nintendo thought it was going to be to make them in HD. And I think that learning period led to the Switch, in where they essentially fused their mobile and home console development studios, where now instead of the 3DS getting Pokemon and the Wii U getting Breath of the Wild, you get Breath of the Wild on the Switch and you get Pokemon on the Switch. So you get a higher rate of game release, more attention to, more reason to buy the console. And I think that rocky transition led to Nintendo being like, all right, we gotta focus up and get our resources consolidated. Because they're realistically the only people doing first-party titles. Like, the Vita wasn't doing shit for years. So doing first-party titles, both mobile and home.
Well, again, I mean, I think they've kind of backed themselves into a corner, because how well do you think they're prepared for when 4K becomes just what everybody expects.
I think they're
Super
going to have
weird.
another rough
It's
transition
almost
here.
there.
Right, but they keep putting themselves in that position by coming out with something that's like way the fuck out there. You know, like that's the road that you've chosen. It's gonna come with a lot of hard hurdles. Not that, you know, Microsoft and Sony have had some rocky years, but like this just seems to be setting yourself up for more difficult times ahead because you have to keep out jumping yourself.
Yeah, not to like harp on the same thing over and over again, but Nintendo does not have to do this like crazy innovation every time. I mean, I don't think there's anyone out there that really likes the motion controls in any Nintendo product. They work well, but there's no point.
Skyward Sword's the best game of all time.
Sure. And like, there's consoles out there like Xbox xCloud is coming out, and Stadia just came out, and that is revolutionary technology that I would love to see Nintendo bring to the Switch, but I know that's not going to happen for at least another 2 decades. So I'd like to see something that's actually a little more mainstream. Maybe don't release a crazy new Nintendo Switch U. Like, just do the Switch 2 and then come out with something good.
So this goes back to the quote. Reggie said the Wii U was a bust, but it was a failure forward. I think we all are maybe arguing that the Switch was the... Will the Switch 2 be a failure? Will it be a failure? Like, because of, you know, what we already said. Like, they're going to maybe be developing in 4K. They're going to maybe stretch things too far. They're going to maybe call it something stupid and mismarket it. Or will it be okay?
There is no such thing as a failure forward. It is just a failure. That's PR talk for, hey, we didn't make such great decisions, but I was pulling the strings at the time, and I'm trying to defend the decisions I made, and that's understandable. But don't. You're just pushing it too far. You have to keep going too far. You have to keep out inventing yourself. Like, you can't come out with a regular console after the Switch. Even if you come out with the Switch 2, like, what's it gonna have? Gorilla Glass? Like, it's not gonna be something meaningful to people. They're gonna be expecting you to jump the moon, and it's. I don't know. I don't like this.
All right.
I don't think it has to be a failure. I mean, as I said before, there's R&D for a reason. Like, you don't have to release a half-baked console. Take your time. It doesn't have to be revolutionary, just something that is a little bit better. Maybe add in some Bluetooth, which is a pretty basic feature, and call it the Switch 2, and then focus on making some good games and releasing something a little more powerful and something more mainstream down the line.
Jeremy, any last thoughts?
It's hard to imagine them bugling any sequel to the Switch as badly as they did with the Wii U. I think they learned their lesson in the negative from the Wii U and in the positive from the Switch, that just spend some money on marketing. You'll be fine. That's pretty much it.
All right. Cool. Well, what should all of our Wii U diehards do, Brian, with all of these opinions being thrown up?
If you are, in fact, one of the few human beings who can focus on 2 screens at once, go ahead and hammer your thoughts on that down in the word box. And if you're a Wii U diehard, I bet you are one of those few. And like Chris said at the beginning of the video, we do give away Steam codes, and we are giving away a copy of Smash Bandicoot when we get to some number. So go ahead and click that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, you know, we come out with a ton more videos like this. We have a ton more videos like this on our channel because we've been doing this for a couple of years now. So more stuff there for you to enjoy, and smoke them if you get them, guys. That's all for me tonight, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Brian. We'll catch you guys next time.